You have already spent enough time preparing. You know more than enough to begin. You watched the videos, read the advice, made the plans, thought about it for weeks, maybe months, and yet you still have not started. Why? Because you are waiting to feel ready. The problem is that readiness is one of the biggest lies people tell themselves. Not because preparation is useless. Because most people are waiting for a feeling that never arrives. A feeling of certainty. A feeling of confidence. A feeling that says, okay, now I can begin. For many people, that moment never comes. And that is exactly why they stay stuck. Most people imagine readiness as a requirement, something you need before action becomes possible. But reality usually works the other way around. Action comes first. Readiness comes later. Think about the biggest decisions people make. Starting a business, changing careers, moving to a new city, launching a YouTube channel, applying for a difficult job, entering a serious relationship. Almost all of them have something in common. You cannot fully prepare for them because you are entering something you have never experienced before. People want certainty before action, but certainty is usually hidden behind action. That creates a frustrating problem. You want experience before you begin, but the experience can only come from beginning. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck is that they imagine a future version of themselves. A future version that is more confident, more prepared, more capable, more disciplined, more certain. They believe that one day this person will arrive and make everything easier. But that future person is not coming, at least not in the way you imagine. The future version of you is not a different person. It is simply the current version of you with more experience. And experience comes from action, not anticipation, not preparation, not waiting. Many people spend years negotiating with an imaginary future self. I'll start when I know more. I'll start when I feel more confident. I'll start when I understand everything. The problem is that confidence is usually built through action, not before it. You cannot become experienced before doing the thing that creates experience. Imagine someone who wants to learn how to swim. They watch tutorials, read articles, study techniques, compare advice, learn everything they can, but they never enter the water. At some point, preparation stops being preparation. It becomes avoidance. Not because learning is bad, because no amount of information can replace experience. The water still feels different when you finally jump in. Life works like that more often than we like to admit. No amount of planning can fully prepare you for your first job. No amount of thinking can fully prepare you for your first video. No amount of research can fully prepare you for your first business. Some lessons exist only on the other side of action. And that is exactly why waiting feels so attractive. Waiting sounds responsible. Starting sounds risky. Waiting protects you from visible failure. As long as the project stays in your head, it can still be perfect. As long as the idea stays on paper, it cannot disappoint you. As long as you never begin, reality never gets a chance to challenge the fantasy. That is a comfortable place to stay. For a while. The dangerous part is that waiting rarely looks dangerous. Scrolling looks like procrastination. Doing nothing looks like procrastination. Waiting often looks intelligent. Careful. Thoughtful. Rational. People tell themselves, I'm gathering information. I'm preparing properly. I'm being realistic. And sometimes that is true. Preparation matters. Research matters. Thinking matters. But eventually there is a line. On one side, preparation helps. On the other side, preparation becomes a socially acceptable form of delay. Most people know when they have crossed that line. The extra tutorial changes nothing. The extra article changes nothing. The extra week changes nothing. They already know enough to begin. They are simply hoping that more waiting will make the fear disappear. It usually does not. because the fear was never caused by a lack of information. The fear comes from uncertainty, and uncertainty is part of almost everything that matters. That is one of the biggest misunderstandings about confidence. People think confidence comes first, then action. In reality, it is often the opposite. Action comes first. Confidence follows. Think about almost any skill: driving, public speaking, writing, going to the gym, creating videos. Nobody feels confident on day one. Confidence is evidence collected over time. It grows from repetition, from mistakes, from discovering that failure is not as catastrophic as you imagined. The same thing is true for readiness. Most people are not ready before they begin. They become ready through the process of beginning. That does not mean preparation is useless. It means preparation has limits. Eventually, reality becomes a better teacher than planning. And eventually, something strange happens. The person who starts badly begins moving ahead. The person who felt unprepared gains experience. The person who looked less qualified becomes more capable. Not because they were special, because they entered reality sooner. Meanwhile, the person waiting for readiness is still waiting, still preparing, still imagining, still expecting a feeling that never arrives. The goal is not to eliminate uncertainty. That is impossible. The goal is to stop treating uncertainty as a reason to wait forever. Because if you keep waiting until you feel completely ready, you may spend years standing at the starting line. The people you admire were usually not ready either. They started before they felt ready, before they felt confident, before they had guarantees, before they knew exactly what would happen. They moved anyway, and reality taught them the rest. That is why I do not think readiness is the starting point. I think readiness is often the reward for surviving the awkward beginning, the reward for entering reality instead of endlessly preparing for it. You are not waiting for the right moment. You are waiting for certainty, and certainty is usually unavailable until after you begin. The future version of you is not going to arrive and magically remove all doubt. The future version of you is created by the decisions you make today. Which means the question is not, when will I finally feel ready? The question is, how much longer am I willing to wait for a feeling that may never come? Because readiness is not usually what creates action. Action is what creates readiness. The first attempt teaches you more than another month of preparation. The first video teaches you more than another 10 tutorials. The first step teaches you more than another year of waiting. Most of life works the same way. You move, then you learn. You act, then you adjust. You begin, then you become ready, not the other way around. Because eventually, almost everyone discovers the same thing. The people they admired were not ready. The people who succeeded were not ready. The people who started were not ready. Nobody was ready. They started anyway.